Have you ever said something in the heat of a moment that you spent the next 3 years wishing you could take back? Most of us treat our tongues like a loaded weapon, ready to fire the second we feel even the smallest spark of anger. But what if there was a way to make your anger smaller before it ever had the chance to speak? There was once a place that no longer exists on any map, a village that possessed a secret so powerful it turned enemies into brothers. If you have a temper that you cannot seem to tame, or if your words have ever left scars on the people you love, this story is for you. High in the mountains, there lived a community known for its extraordinary peace. While other towns were torn apart by bitter feuds and ancient grudges, this village remained calm. They had a strange, ancient tradition taught to every child the moment they could walk. Whenever two people felt an argument rising, whether it was over a boundary line, a borrowed tool, or a harsh word, they were forbidden from speaking. Instead, they were required to walk together to the village well at the very edge of the valley. There, they would draw 2 heavy buckets of water, but they couldn't just leave them there. They had to carry those buckets side by side in total silence all the way back to their homes. By the time they reached their front doors, their arms were tired, their breathing was deep, and the fire in their chests had cooled. Usually, by the time the water was poured, the argument had died before it even began. But as the years passed, a new generation grew impatient. They thought the tradition was a waste of time. They asked, "Why walk a mile for water we don't need just to say what is on our minds?" One by one, they stopped walking to the well. They began to speak their truths the moment they felt them. The silence of the village was replaced by the sound of slamming doors and sharp tongues. Arguments that used to last minutes now lasted days. Families that had been friends for centuries stopped speaking to one another. One evening, 2 young men stood in the square, their faces red with fury. As they raised their fists, the village elder didn't intervene. He didn't shout. He simply walked to the old, dusty path leading to the well and sat down in the dirt. One by one, the other elders joined him, sitting in total silence, watching the youth tear each other apart. The 2 men stopped mid-shout. The weight of the elder's silence was heavier than any argument. The youngest turned to the elder and demanded, "Why are you just watching? Tell us who is right." The elder looked at the dust on his sandals, dust from a path that hadn't been walked in years. "I cannot tell you who is right," he whispered, "because you are no longer speaking to each other. You are only speaking to your own pride. We didn't walk for the water. We walked so that by the time we spoke, we remembered that we loved our neighbor more than we loved being right." The 2 young men looked at each other. The exhaustion of the fighting finally hit them. They realized that in their rush to be heard, they had become deaf to the peace of their own home. Without a word, the first young man turned toward the well. The second followed. They drew the water and began the long, heavy walk back in the moonlight. By the time they returned, the anger hadn't just disappeared. It had been replaced by a quiet, shared respect for the weight they both carried. Your first feeling is rarely your truest feeling. Anger is a fog. When you speak while the fog is thick, you will always get lost. Wisdom is the act of creating a walk to the well in your own life. It is the 10-second pause before you send that text. It is the walk around the block before you respond to a critique. Give your feelings time to become something worth saying. Thank you for being part of Tales Studio. If you've ever regretted something said in anger, comment the word pause below. Subscribe for a new original wisdom tale every week. Until next time, keep your heart open and your walk steady.